Carlisle Associates. As Mr. Porter said, with my husband, Michael Canty, we are in the heart of downtown Columbia on Gervais Street. And Mr. Michael Canty is going to tell me about what he does here. But as Mr. Porter mentioned, he began studying for his career in high school at the local high school career center. So, Michael, could you tell me about what led you to study drafting?
I guess in 8th grade, I had a teacher that saw that I liked to draw. And so he told me the suggestion, maybe you should take AutoCAD in 9th grade because we're looking for electives. And I just happened to jump on it. It looked kind of fun. And I liked blueprints and buildings and things like that. So that's really what gave me the idea to do it.
Had you ever heard of AutoCAD?
Not before my teacher, no.
And what is AutoCAD?
AutoCAD is a computer-aided design program that is used by a lot of disciplines. And you have engineering, architecture, interior design. Some people use it for 3D modeling, for mechanical, 3D printing. I mean, AutoCAD is anything you use on the computer to design a product.
And so you started studying that in 9th grade?
Yes.
Okay. And did you earn a certificate, or how did that go to complete that program?
So in high school, there was no certificate. So we just took the class every year, took it on 4 years of high school, and there wasn't really any kind of school to work in that sense. I did start working in high school, but it wasn't based off of a certification.
And how did you get your first job?
So this might be a kind of complicated story, but I started high school in District 2, and in District 2, their vocational program was a 2-year program. So I did my 2 years, 9th grade and 10th grade there. In my 11th grade year, I switched to District 1, which had the Lynn Haven Hayward School, and that's a 4-year program. Well, so my junior year, I had already been doing AutoCAD for 2 years, so I was 2 years ahead of the students that were starting. So in my senior year, I was 3 years ahead of the students. So my teacher noticed that I was bored, I was finishing the work really fast, and so he started giving me his own personal projects to work with. And when he saw that I was doing pretty good with those, he decided to find me an internship during that class time. So instead of going to class, I would go work for an architecture firm. And that's kind of how the transition started.
Mm-hmm. And so for students that don't know what District 1 and District 2 are, those are the local school districts in Columbia. We have Richland School District 1 and Richland School District 2. And both of those school districts have their own career programs. And we have career centers all over the state. Every student in this call right now is zoned for a local high school career center. And each of them offer different programs. There's about 42 of them all over the state. And so depending on what area, they target different programs that are going to prepare high school students to go to work, potentially right out of high school, or in Michael's case, during high school even. So he began working in the spring of your 12th grade?
Spring of my senior year.
And then what did you do after that?
I stayed working there and worked over the summer and applied for college, applied for USC and Midwest Tech. I did apply late to both, and so USC put me on a waiting list, and Midwest Tech accepted me. Mm-hmm. So I just decided to go to Tech in the meantime. And so this is all, I wasn't planning it, just kind of happened this way. So I decided to go to Midwest Tech until the next semester or next year so I could apply for USC. But once I got to Tech, I liked it. I liked the flexibility of being able to work, because I was still working at the architecture firm. So I was able to work full time and balance my schedule. It was easier to balance my schedule. So I just decided to stay on at Midwest Tech. And that's how I got it.
And did your job say, okay, you must go to college if you want to stay here?
No, they didn't. I just decided to just do it on my own, and that's when I decided to get certified as well. I had already proven to the job that I was working at that I could do work. They hired me out of it. When I decided that I wanted to change companies, I didn't have anything on paper to say that I could do the work. So that's when I went to the Midwest Tech computer-aided design program and got an official certificate along with my associate's degrees that I had there.
Right.
Then I was able to use that to transfer to other companies.
Okay, so it did help you to transfer to another employer who didn't have any evidence of your experience as a drafter. But what is the difference between the certificate and the degree?
So I'm not sure Middlesex offers a CAD degree. I don't think many people maybe
It's
can.
an industry certificate.
Yeah. So the certificate I have was a shorter class, and it was all just based on AutoCAD, and there's not any extra academic requirements. You just go in there, take the classes, and that's it. Versus,
Right.
I guess, with the degree, you're there for 2 to 4 years. You have certain prerequisites you have to meet, math, science, and languages. So that was the difference between those two. I was doing both, so they kind of overlapped at the same time. But that's the main difference. I guess a 2-year degree, as far as AutoCAD goes, you can take that. It's more specific, so you can maybe work as an AutoCAD, work for Autodesk, the company, or something like that, or another company. Maybe another computer-aided design company, or Adobe, or something like that. You can go there, maybe represent them, or teach CAD. Versus mine was more vague. It was just learn how to use this program, or however you want to apply it.
Right. So it would be learning how to use the actual software. Well, that was the certificate part. But if you wanted to go and teach other people how to use the software, you would need the degree.
It'd be preferable if you had. Yeah,
Right.
It's better if you had it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, what do you like about with the work that you do?
So I've always loved drawing. I've always loved math. I've always loved science. I had not a hard time, but it's just, growing up, you don't really know what you want to do because you're just interested in so many things. So, like I said, I was just lucky that I kind of got into drawing as a career. But for what I enjoy about it currently, I love doing it. Right now, I do more than just CAD. It started off with CAD, but now I do calculations, I work with reports, things that I learned on the job and during my career. So I really enjoy stormwater calculations. I really enjoy grading and actually doing more engineering work, not just design, or not just it starts becoming more design work, which is a little more involved, takes a little more practice, a lot more math.
Right. So can you tell us what stormwater calculations are?
So anytime you have a development, a site, a property, especially a large development, industrial or commercial development, you're required by the state to submit a stormwater report. And in that stormwater report, what you're doing is you're proving that the pre-existing conditions, the way the water flows on the site currently, will not be changed or will be affected, have a minimal effect based on the construction. So that includes, showing all the stormwater pipes you have, you have to have a drainage pond on the site to contain the water during rain events, and you have to show how long it takes for that water to drain out of the pond and disperse into, the whatever outfall we have set. So it can be a stream, it can be into another existing stormwater pipe, like a city pipe or whatever. But we have to show that the water that we're releasing is not more water that we're releasing, and it's not a higher flow. So we just have to prove the pre and post conditions of the site.
And why do y'all have to do that stuff?
It's important. It's an environmental thing. So, if you increase water, it causes erosion, and erosion is carry of pollution. So it's a multifaceted thing. So, if we have water released into a site, uncontrolled water, say we didn't retain any water, we didn't calcium, just put all this concrete out there, there's no grass, and now all this water is just flowing down the concrete and rushing off, eroding the side of the roads there, and carrying pollutants that are on the pavement from cars driving, oils, all that's just getting washed out into the environment, which is not good. So for the retainage of water, it allows the pollution or whatever particulates are in the water, stormwater, whatever it is, to settle in that pond, and then the more purified or more filtered water will be released back out.
So learning about all the stormwater and the grading were things that you learned on the job and not at college?
Correct.
And so after you learned those things, you were given more responsibilities
Yes, and promotion.
and promotions, which led to raises as well,
Mm-hmm.
pay raises.
Yeah, and it helps to be eager. I didn't come in here and just do the same thing every day. I wanted to learn, not to make more money or not to get promotion. I just enjoyed the process of doing the work, and so I guess it showed. So whatever, I was just always asking questions and asking if I could try it. Can I try it out before you try it out? That kind of thing. You're like, it's a weird question because I wasn't really hired to do that or qualified to. But like, yeah, go ahead and try it out. We'll check the work behind it. And I showed that I was, correct and precise in my work, and so they allowed me to keep going.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like a lot of other drafters do that kind of, same eagerness to learn new things, and or do you find that a lot of drafters just are fine doing exactly what they do?
That's the great thing about being a drafter is you can decide where you want to be. I mean, you could come in here and just get the drawings and just draw exactly what you see and do fine. And there are people that do that, and they do that for the whole career. They're just a draftman. They just produce blueprints, and the blueprints get marked up. Like teacher will mark up, proofread your paper. They'll proofread your blueprints, you mark them up, you make the corrections, and that's it. That could be a satisfying career. And some people, they do what I do, and they want to do more work. They start writing reports and doing stormwater calculations, things like that. And then some of them even get so inspired by that they'll go back to college, and then they'll go get an official engineering degree, and that way they can do it without having a supervisor have to check after the work. That way they have the credentials to do it on their own.
The license.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Okay. And do all architecture and engineering firms have a drafter?
I wouldn't say they all have a drafter. They all have someone there that can draft. Yeah.
Okay.
So, a lot of times, especially more recently, they teach AutoCAD in college. If you're on an architecture or engineering path, they might not teach all the details. You might just have one semester in AutoCAD, so you just know how to move around in the software.
Does it depend on how much work that firm has?
Yeah. It's not a requirement. So it does depend on the workload, and if the architect or engineer is savvy at AutoCAD, he may not feel like he needs to have a drafter. But a lot of engineering work, especially when you start talking about PE, which is professional engineers, they have to do a lot of meeting clients, politics, interpreting law, interpreting codes, that kind of thing. They don't have time to. A lot of times they don't have time to do that. So that's when they're
They have a large workload.
Yeah.
Can drafters work for themselves?
Yes, drafters can work for themselves. I've dealt with privately contracted draftsmen. I had a friend that actually started his own draft firm, and then it's funny enough, he started that and started getting so much business that he went back and finished his civil engineering degree. So now it's a full-fledged civil engineering firm.
By himself.
All by himself. But he started with draft work.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's definitely a great stepping stone to go other places.
Right.
And like I said, if it's just drafting, then you're working with multiple disciplines within design field. So I started off at an architecture firm in high school. I was doing architecture and landscape design. And through the landscape, because it's landscape design, I learned how to work with the land, and that civil engineering is tied to land development. And so that's when I started saying, I kind of like landscape's fun, but this is even more involved. It's even more design. So I like the civil side. So that's kind of how. But I also working with Carlisle, I've done mechanical design, electrical, structural. So I've basically run through almost all of the plumbing design. So I basically run through all the construction design programs or industries. So yeah, just through time.
What is the pay like for a drafter? What's the range? Could you speak to that?
The range.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know. That's kind of a funny question. Well, in high school, when I was working in high school, I was getting paid $7.25. So that's
as a student.
As a student, yeah, it was a student. It was an internship. So So I was getting paid $7.25.
But not all internships are paid. So
Yes, that's true. Yeah, so I was lucky because I was making $5.25 at the program before that. So that was a big. I felt good about that in high school. But I mean, it could be anywhere. Like I said, because of the range of responsibilities, you could maybe 30, 35 starting out, and if you're running your own business, who knows what the limit is? I guess average, you work with somebody else, maybe up to 80, 70, 80. That's just a guess.
Right. Yeah.
So this is our reception area. It's recently decorated for Christmas. The downstairs level is mainly for the architects, and this is the area.
What is this?
The architect's area.
Architects.
Yeah. So she's architecture design. She's kind of similar to what I do with civil, but she does it for the architects.
Okay, cool, awesome.
So we can go upstairs. This side we have this structural. That's the Ray, the principal, one of the principals of the company, and structural engineering. And then on this side we have the civil engineers. Kurt is also a designer, works with AutoCAD, but Kurt has a civil engineering degree. So it's different, different levels. I have a 2-year degree, Kurt has a 4-year degree. And then Gene, who is our boss, he's not here right now, but he's a PE, so he's a professional engineer. So Kurt does what I do, he's been doing longer, so he's pretty good. He's a whiz here. Then on this back area, I have the mechanical, electrical, plumbing department. So Jim here, who is our mechanical engineer, kind of runs this side of the building upstairs. So that's basically it. It's kind of nice having it all in-house, because if I have a problem with the way the building design, the way it sits, I can just run downstairs and I'm like, hey, architect, why is this wall out here 6 feet further out than I thought it was going to be? You can sit here and brainstorm and come up with quick solutions. That's one of the benefits of working together in the office with all these other disciplines. So I just want to give you all an example of what we have going on here. It's kind of hard to see. But so on this image, on the right of your screen here, I have to zoom in. This image here. So this is just a Google Earth image of a site that we developed. This is in Hartsville, South Carolina. So they wanted us to demo this building in the center of the screen here and put a new building. So this is just the existing conditions here. And they also wanted to close this road right here, close it off, and then put a new warehouse. So on this middle screen here is the plans. There we go. Here. So this middle screen here are the plans for that. So this is the new building that we designed for them in place of that demo building. And so our plans, we typically show every stage of construction. So for instance, this is the site before. This is the building that we're going to demo here. This is the existing conditions plan. Then we have a demolition plan, site demolition plan. And this is where I'm marking out everything that's going to be removed or relocated, demolished on site. So after that plan, we have the site layout, which kind of shows the overall look of the site, the physical above ground look. So you can see we have the building here, we have this is all asphalt pavement, this is concrete pavement, we have ramp, and there's a ramp here in the middle, and there's the roads that we designed here going out. We did. Here's a scale that we added so they can weigh their trucks when they come in or leave. So that's the site layout plan. Then you have the grading plan, which shows basically the layout of the land on the site. So we want to show that everything is sloping away from the building. Things are sloping towards the drain inlets and the catch basins, and there's not ponding on the roads and that kind of stuff. And I mean, it gets detailed. We go into this is a sewer plan here. It shows the manholes, making sure that we're rerouting the sewer because they had to redesign all the sewer and the water. These are this is a profile here. So what we do a lot of time, this is a stormwater profile. So we show a profile is like a slice, a cut in the ground, so you can see how the pipes are running underneath the surface. So here we have a drain inlet, and we have the pipe sloping down at 2%, and then we have it connected to another drain inlet. This is the surface of the land here. So we just have the drain inlet is just dropping the water down here, and all the water, we take it to whatever water treatment we're going to do, either it's a pond or a structure, something like that. So here this is our stormwater plan here. So you can see, so for instance, we have this catch basin here, this drain inlet right here. It's at a low point on that pavement, so it can collect the water, and then we route the water through the pipes. It's picking up all these little squares or other inlets, so it's just picking up more and more water, and it goes to this structure here, which instead of doing a pond on this side, we actually have stormwater structure that will filter the water and let it settle before we release it. So after it goes through this process, it comes out of that pipe. This is a 36-inch pipe, a 3-foot pipe, 3-foot diameter, and comes out to this stream here. So this is an existing stream that we have that cuts through the property.
Everything on this you design.
Yeah. So at first we get a drawing from the surveyor. So that's something that happens before it gets to us. So a surveyor is still in the same industry. So they're out in the field. They go out, take measurements on everything that's out, anything they can see, anything they can't see. Take measurements, elevations, and then they put it in a plan for us and send it to us as a file. And we take that to know what we're working with. That's our base. And from there, we design everything else. So for instance, something like this grade line here, that's the existing building. I didn't necessarily draw that. That came from the survey.
So when you began this blueprint, it already had some stuff on it.
Yeah, it's very chaotic. Usually when you get it in from a surveyor, so I'm just like, well, the surveyor will put a place to see what it might look like. So this is a cleaned up survey here.
Now, why did it turn black?
So this is a nuance of the program. So the white background drawings is basically it's called black. This is what it will look like when you print it out. When we go back into model space, this is kind of
you're still editing.
Yeah, this is more of where you will edit things. This is where everything's kept. So in paper space, it's more like how it will look on each individual sheet, versus all the information is basically contained in the model space stuff. So it's almost like those human body books with the layers. You can take one layer off and take another layer off and take another layer off, but it's all in the human body. So this is basically the human body, and each tab I have here is a different layer that you'll see. So that's that, and then the end product. This is how it looks at the end. So now we have the building that was designed here at Carlisle. See it, that screen. This is it. Now this is finished. So it went from this with a little, it was like an office space, and drive around area, demolished all of that, and designed it here. And this is the finished product with the new pavement, the road, and everything. There's the scales that I mentioned before.
And so those are Google images of the before and after?
Yeah, so we use a lot of aerial, we use a lot of maps.
Right.
A lot of maps. We have to have flood maps, site maps, aerial photo maps. So that's another big thing we do. Which is another thing I love too as well. I love maps as a kid, so now I get to just draw maps all the time. Right.
And how long would a project like this take?
That's a tricky question. It just depends. It could be a quick project. design it, and there's no hiccups. Project, we design it, and then the client will say, well, I might not want that. You can redesign that, and redesign that, and so sometimes we're redesigning the same project over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be it. That could delay a project. Sometimes permitting can slow down the project.
Mm-hmm.
So it really just depends.
So what would be one of your shorter projects? About how long? From start to finish?
It's just so hard to say. It's kind of hard to say.
Like a week?
I've drawn things in a couple of weeks, I would say.
Okay.
But then, it probably takes a couple of weeks just to get feedback from the permitting.
Uh-huh.
So if I designed it in 2 weeks, that means there probably was nothing changed from my original design.
Mm-hmm.
And then I send it off to DHEC, or City of Columbia, or Richland County, whoever's permitting. And then they'll have comments, make sure you're capturing the storm water, they want to see your work. You have to make corrections, send it back to them. So that's the whole process. And then after that, then you get the construction crews mobilized. So they're probably already mobilizing as we're getting it permitted to get out there. So as soon as it says, okay, this is approved, you can build this, they start on it. So depending on the size of the project, it could take something small, it could be a month, maybe even less. Something like this is half a year.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just all.
Have you ever had a project last a year?
I have worked on projects for over a year, yes.
Over a year. Okay.
But it wasn't like I was coming in every day working on it. We work on it. It might pause. I'll work on it and send it out to DHEC. So DHEC might have it for 2 weeks. So during that 2 weeks, I'll work on another project, and then I'll get it back. It's like, okay, make these corrections. So it's kind of a stop and go process. It's rare if it's ever just straight 6 months working on it and then
Mm-hmm.
get it out. Take a chance. Take a CAD class or AutoCAD course or some kind of graphic design even. That's in a whole other world, marketing, stuff like that. But yeah, take a course in graphic design or AutoCAD.
Mm-hmm.
If you feel like you're more artistic, maybe you can go into the graphic design side, and if you feel more analytical and you like numbers and science, numbers and math, and start maybe go towards the AutoCAD path. But yeah, I would say as soon as possible, take a class or a light version of the software free online. Just take a stab at it yourself and see if you enjoy it. I just liked it so much. To me, AutoCAD was like a video game to me in high school. So whenever I had a chance, I was doing it. It was just fun. I love to draw. I wouldn't just draw buildings. I would sometimes draw cartoon characters in AutoCAD just because I wanted to. My buddy Kurt over there, he has a 3D printer. He's always designing stuff, sending it to his 3D printer, and he'll print out. He should print it this. Print this one. He's really good at doing things in 3D and taking the software, like pushing the software to its limits.
Okay.
I think it's exciting. Every day, every project's different. There's nothing that I'm doing the same. I might have this do like something similar, like I'm grading today, but it's never the same it's not the same grading that I was doing last week. It's always a new project. It always has different quirks about it, so it's something new to expect every day. There's not really an age. I mean, I would hope maybe
you were 18.
I was 18, but I wasn't doing this.
Right.
I was doing a little easier work. More about what I was saying before with the getting corrected, that kind of stuff. Then I was getting into landscape design. What do you know? Show me that you can actually do it, and are you a good worker? And less about how old you are or where you went to school. Yeah, there are places that will have that as a requirement. Most places do, but some places don't. But to say that you actually have to have one to be able to do this work, no.
Mm-hmm.
But to get hired somewhere, it just depends on what they demand. Some places might only want to hire people with civil engineering degrees, and some places look like, well, just if you can do the work, I don't care what your degree is. You can have a degree in, I don't know, cooking. But I've known places that hire, or at least temporary hire, or interns that are that are younger than 18.
Right.
There was some annoyance. It's not that I don't like it. Like, for instance, if you're almost done with the design and then they have massive changes, and it's like, oh man, I was just going to finish this and print it out. I've been working on this for 2-3 months. And I thought I was done. Like, no, we've got these changes now. You have another 4 to 6 weeks to work on this. So I mean, that's part of that's actually part of the fun and the spontaneity of it as well. Like I said, you never know what you're gonna get, so it could be annoying, but it doesn't. Not that I don't like it. It's like, okay, well, that's life is such as say la vie, let's get to work. So that's kind of how it works.
Right.
Yeah, I think that Carlisle will be definitely open to stuff like that. And
Right.
they're always trying to reach out because it seems like it's hard to find good draftsmen. So anything that they can do to reach or help that out, I'm sure they're all about it. So yeah, I'm like temporary, working during the summer or whatever, interning or whatever. I think they'd be open to that.
And Carlisle is located in Columbia, South Carolina, but there's architect and engineering firms all over the state.
Yeah, and they all have different. You just have to call and ask, or go with. They all have different requirements and criteria, different ways of operating. Generally they do. They'll come with we need to have a 100,000 square foot building. We need a 100,000 square foot building with 4 loading docks. That's kind of how it starts off. And then we'll take that, and pick the site, or they'll have a site in mind. And we'll go from there. Oh, we have this. They'll tell us all the things they need. Well, we need to have parking for 100 employees, and we need to that kind of stuff. We need to have a canopy area, picnic area for when they don't go on break. They'll say that kind of stuff, and then we'll kind of lay it out, and then from there we work closely with them to nail it down exactly how they want it. Because a lot of clients, they don't know the rules, they don't know the laws, codes. They just want the building, and they just want to open up the doors and go to work. So we kind of limit or control where that idea goes based on what we can actually do in real life, and not just a pie in the sky idea. So it could be as vague as I want a 100,000 square foot building, or it could be as specific as we want to. Like for this one was very specific. They knew they wanted a building here. There's precise location about this. They need this size so they can get their equipment in there, and this is the only place where it will fit on their property. So we were kind of already hemmed in as far as our freedom of design. So it varies so much. Autodesk Civil 3D, so it's AutoCAD program specifically designed for 3D design, civil design. So it's got all kind of types, shortcuts, and stuff like that, grading shortcuts, that kind of stuff. But you can have AutoCAD, and there's architectural AutoCAD that they use downstairs, but they also use other programs down as well to do 3D modeling and things like that. Of course, we use a lot of Google Earth. And a lot of our references and resources are available online too. So a lot of the maps you will download on these mapping software that I've found called QGIS. So a lot of it is just kind of being not tech savvy, but being able to work or illustrate using a computer. And if you can pick up on it, then it's even better. So I went to school for AutoCAD, but a lot of things I didn't learn in school. I just picked it up here at work. Like, this is what we have to work with. I'm gonna learn how to use this software. A lot of it's learned. You just learn it, and it's kind of hard to get to mention things. That without having to worry about doing the math and bringing out a protractor and stuff like that. Keep it simple, or like I said, or it can get just as complicated as that. So it's a pretty diverse. I know you can set parameters to some of your things that like preferences for, like showing you guys stormwater inlets, and we typically like to run those at a certain minimum depth initially. So we have it set to where it won't, you won't have your pipe 2 inches below the earth, so won't get exposed eventually. So those kind of things are set, but each county, each city, each state, they all have their own criteria. So it'd be kind of hard. That'd be a really good idea though. Set it where this is South Carolina, Lexington, the city of Lexington in Lexington County, But then, and also though, the rules change so much. They can change from year to year. So if the law changes, code might change. So we might be doing something different from the way we did last year.
Mm.
So that would be kind of hard unless AutoCAD was updating and keeping up with it, all the municipalities around the country. That'd be a task.
Right.
But, so we kind of do it for our most popular municipalities and jurisdictions, like Richland County, South Carolina, maybe Lancaster County, Orangeburg County. You know, we kind of have things set that way already saved in the program. But then we have to change it when they change their rules. So we have to change our rules. So.